What's up, guys? My name is Sebastián and welcome to another, final review of Wandavision. Where today I'm going to talk about the series finale, talk about full-on spoilers about the whole thing, and also review the whole series. Is it like, did it work out by the end of it? Like, we'll see. If you've been keeping up with my series of reviews, you've noticed that I skipped the last two episodes. I just didn't think there was much to talk about in those last two episodes. I'm like, I don't think it's worth it. But I will say episode 7 was it was pretty filler. It's not like a bad episode, it's just like, I can tell it's filler. It's not even pretty strong of an episode. And the last one, although, was pretty cool. They focus a lot on Wanda's origins and focus like on big reveals about her character. I didn't like it that much. It was pretty good, but I didn't really like it that much. I was like, it's kind of, the show kind of been faltering for me for a little bit. But of course, also in that episode, we find out more about Agnes, which, yes, in episode 7, we revealed that the villain of the whole series, although Wanda is kind of still like the villain, but it's really Agnes who's doing a lot of things, pulling strings and trying to get Wanda's powers. But in this episode, we're trying to conclude everything and see how it works out, which I'll talk about right now. So spoilers, if you've not seen the series finale of WandaVision, if you don't want to be spoiled, do not watch this review. Watch the show first and then come back here and see my thoughts and share them with me. If you don't give a shit about spoilers, then hey, you're all gonna stay. So let's get to it. The episode starts immediately right where we left off from the last episode, which people keep criticizing, like, oh my god, this show ends like right in the middle of the show when they put the credits, and it's kind of annoying sometimes, but it's like, yeah, I mean, whatever. It's not really like an hour. I don't think did he ever say it was gonna be an hour long like episodes each week? I don't think they did. It's really 30 minutes. I noticed that right from the first episode. I was like, oh shit, this is like 20 minutes or something. It's not even that long, which is fine. If they don't advertise it, if it was gonna be an hour, I'm not disappointed. Like, okay, whatever. I wish it was like 50 minutes or so, or maybe 40, but it's all right. But I'll have to see how it works out with, you know, Falcon Winter Soldier. Like, that has to be a little bit longer. I mean, well, we'll see. But yeah, last week it ended with the bang. I'm like, wow, they just cut it right in the middle of the conflict. But as we see in this episode, it makes sense why that happened, because there's a lot of events, a lot of action, a lot of moving parts going on that we have to focus on that might be longer in the last episode if they actually executed it. So yes, Agnes is holding Wanda's kids like with a leash, basically, and then Wanda's like, fuck you, so she starts fighting. And the thing that we notice is that when Wanda uses her powers against Agnes, Agnes starts to actually suck her powers, like actually consuming them, and it's actually hurting Wanda. And the thing is, in the origin back in episode 8 for Agnes, sorry, I thought it was interesting the way it started. Like, oh, it's like the witch trials back in the 1600s. That's really cool. But I was conflicted with Agnes's motivations. Like, even back then, like, you can tell, like, oh, okay, so she's not a villain. She's actually a victim of these witch trials, and, you know, being victimized by these people, like being hurt by who she is for being different, I guess. But the thing is, we notice that, oh, these are actually a band of witches. But I was like, they want to make me think that she's innocent, but there's some parts, I don't know if it's Catherine Hahn's performance or the direction or what's going on, but sometimes she looked like she was actually enjoying, like she's actually evil. I'm like, what's going on? Is she evil or is she good? Back then at least, like, I don't know. Even at the end of it, I'm like, I don't understand what the fuck happened there. That was really weird. But yes, now modern times, she's full on villain, because all she wants is use Wanda's power, have her powers, and actually learn how to do these like different realities, how to control people the way that Wanda does it. Like, that's all her motivation, which is interesting. I didn't find it that compelling to me. I was like, I wish it was something, not that it has to be something personal like for Wanda, but something a little bit more personal to her, not just like, I just want your power and be evil. Of course, not every villain has to be super complex and super developed in terms of like, oh my god, there's a lot of intricate parts. Not every villain has to be that. Like, if it's just a plain villain but still entertaining to watch or something, that's fine. But in this case, I was just like, this is kind of flat. I just want more from her, really. I want something else. But yeah, let's start fighting, and then they kind of burned a little bit of Wanda's hand, and she's like, oh shit, so like, this is not good. And then Wanda and Agnes have a little bit of a fight, and then fucking Vision comes out of nowhere. Well, wait, no, actually, Wanda hits a car right. I mean, dude, this episode, if people talk about superhero like collateral work, damage control, this is the episode that kind of shows like, yeah, superheroes do a lot of damage. It's just like she just throws this car. I mean, again, this town's not completely real, but still, the houses are pretty much real. There's still people in this city, so what the fuck? So she uses his car, throws it right through his house, which I think is no, I don't think it was even Wanda's house, to be honest. I was like, wow, this is wreck that house and not give a fuck. I'm like, well, we just pretend like nothing happened there. Okay. Again, this town is pretty much, even though a lot of it is not real, the houses are real. So it seems that Agnes is, for a little bit of this moment, disposed. She's put down. I think they reference Wizard of Oz because she sees like her boots kind of crushed like under the car, almost like very Wizard of Oz. You know, like that's something that's very iconic, like iconic imagery for like a decade or like decades. And then White Vision shows up, and Wanda's like, Vision, like, what is going on? Which, yes, I forgot that they reveal like White Vision is a thing. People speculated that he would be voiced by Jane Spader, who voiced Ultron, because there's a lot of hints, or not, I don't think there were hints, I guess there were not hints, but people speculated that in the end of the post-credit scene, the White Vision looking at his hand is supposed to reference Ultron at the end of Age of Ultron, when he looked at his arm that like was cut off. I guess people thought that White Vision is actually Ultron, and then seeing that he has an arm back, I was like, oh shit. It ended not being the case, and I'll just say it right now. Was it a missed opportunity? Maybe, but I think I wasn't even that excited about it. I mean, yeah, I don't like that movie. I don't like Age of Ultron at all. There's some good parts. There's some good parts in there. I just don't like the movie. But even Ultron is one of the things I did not like in the movie. It was so disappointing, really disappointing. I mean, it would have been kind of cool if they actually brought him back and make him better, because Marvel has done that quite a few times, and I actually like that. But in this case, I don't know if it would have been too much. I'm like, okay, we're actually bringing Ultron, because that's the thing. Like, okay, so this is one final episode. How are they going to put all these moving parts in one episode? I'm like, unless it's like an hour and a half or something, or they could try to fit it all in an hour. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I guess it did not end up being Ultron. It's, I'm fine with it. I think White Vision himself, it's cool, but I'll just say right now, it was kind of a missed opportunity so far. Again, as we'll see later, there might be an opportunity to grow him more, but from this moment, I was like, well, do we even need him in here? Like, why do we need him here? He was just unnecessary, I'll tell you right now. But anyway, he just like, Vision? I'm like, okay, dude, I mean, can you, obviously, you can tell this doesn't look like the Vision that you knew. But again, she's like wrapped in her feelings about like Vision, her love for him, and all that. And maybe, yeah, maybe it is the Vision that you knew brought back somehow. But I don't know. I think it would have been better if she was already on the fence about it. Like, what the fuck? Like, who is this? It would have been more better. Would have been more believable. And something better for that character. Just be like, Vision? But all right. But then once she like starts to hug him, or she starts to hug him of, you know, feeling her face, she's like sucked in that moment. But then you see the White Vision trying to crush her face. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then, boom, the Vision that we've been in this show comes out of nowhere. I mean, finally shows out of nowhere. Like, damn, how long it took you to go from the ice cream truck to where she is? But whatever. So they start fighting. Oh my god, dude. The Vision versus White Vision fight, that is very much superhero, Superman, Man of Steel kind of battles. Like, dude, the most unnecessary explosion I've seen in MCU, I guess, or like a lot of superhero properties. Like, they just hit this car and they blow up, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe because the setting of the neighborhood is a little bit of unsettling. Like, oh my god, what the fuck? This is kind of, I don't know, it's not cool. But yeah, I saw the explosion. It was like, okay, that's a little bit excessive. And then they start fighting, and I'll say right now, the fights also between them, they're fine, but they don't look that good. I mean, this is where I can see like, oh, okay, they have the Disney budget for sure. They have more budget than Netflix, and ABC ever had. But I can tell that they didn't give them the full budget that they give for the movies, you know, or for most of them. Because even some of the movies, let's just be honest, they don't look that good with some of the visual effects. And this one, I guess, is one of those, like, the movies of the MCU that they don't have the strong visual effects. I mean, in the show, they have a lot of good effects, but in, like, stuff like this, even sometimes in the show, you're like, it doesn't look that great. But in here, there's just some moments I'm like, wow, it doesn't look terrible by no means, but it doesn't look that good. Especially where they're in the sky and just flying around. It's just like, ugh. And there's some parts in the show, a lot of parts. I mean, in this episode, at least I noticed, when they start moving or like someone starts flying or someone's just shifting, and there's some weird frame rate like effects. Like when they're walking, it just looks weird. Like they're trying to put some effects, but also trying to make it look natural. It just doesn't. Something off of the frame rate of the movements. It's just like, ugh. But anyway, I just want to say that right now. But yeah, they start fighting. Okay, it's not anything exciting really, but it's kind of cool. It's like, okay, something fun to watch a little bit. And of course, one that takes care of the kids, and she's like, get the fuck out of here, go home. Like, just please get away from this. This is not safe. Like, just, I'll take care of this. I like how he's just like, let mom take care of this. I'm like, yeah, fuck it, you will. Although it was done or executed in a way that's like a little bit cheesy, like, okay, but it's still cool. Like, fuck yeah, Wanda, go get it. And then Wanda starts flying around, and then we meet Monica, which, you know, of course, last episode was more Wanda-focused episode, which is cool. But they said some stuff from Monica in episode 7, and I'm like, okay, how are we gonna wrap this all in the final episode? There's a lot of stuff that we have to focus on with Monica. Because again, I forgot to mention that this is when she becomes, is it Photon or Proton? We still don't know. She's not a superhero per se yet, but these are like her beginnings, I guess. And her cool, her powers are super cool. But yeah, I mean, we ended episode 7 with Quicksilver showing up looking like a pothead, really. I guess abducted her. But we ended up seeing that it's not really an abduction. I mean, kind of is. He's holding her hostage or prisoner. But I'll say right now, those scenes, super wasted. Like, completely wasted. Like, we didn't even need these moments at all. Like, they set up something super interesting, like, oh, like, we probably find out, like, what's going on with this Quicksilver, like, Evan Peters, like, who is he really? But it was really a waste of potential. It was set up for nothing. I don't know why they even do this. It's just, it was lame. Completely unnecessary. But, yeah, Monica starts to scream, like, Wanda, Wanda. I'm like, of course she's not going to hear you. What the hell? you're in a house. You're far away from where she is. Like, she's not going to hear you. That was stupid. But, yeah, Monica's stuck there, and, like, okay, she's just stuck here. And then we focus back on Sword. You know, Sword's like, you know, Hayward being a complete douchebag and completely evil right now. I mean, even last episode, I'm like, okay, maybe he's not completely a bad guy. He's kind of a selfish asshole, but I don't see him like an evil guy. But in this episode, he's completely evil, like full on evil. I'm like, wow, okay. It's like, just didn't even try. I'm like, he's evil. Like, okay. Because you see him enjoying this stuff, I'm like, hell yeah, we're gonna take her down. Like, that's just, could have been a little better. Yeah, we see Jimmy Woo, like, okay, cool, Jimmy Woo, he was captured by Sword, and then Jimmy Woo tries to bluff. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna call the FBI, they're over here in an hour. They're gonna be here in an hour. This whole operation is over. And of course, everyone's like, don't bullshit me. And it was actually pretty funny later because, yeah, Jimmy was actually bluffing and like, oh shit, like, hey, can you actually send some people over here in an hour? And also this whole time I was like, where's Darcy? Like, Darcy was like, we just left her in the ice cream truck. We don't know what's going on. And she shows up way later, like almost by the end of the episode, like probably like the last half. I'm like, where is she? And then we kind of get like a cool moment here where Wanda goes to the town, the you know, the center. You know, we start to see there's a lot of people from Westview there, which almost like, I was thinking, okay, are they gonna do something here with the people? Like, cause you know, we're doing all these battles and shit, but you know, the people are still here. So I liked what Agnes starts to do here, where she starts to use these people and kind of bring them out from their Wanda's control. And the idea is interesting of the people starting to not revolt, but trying to turn her against Wanda. Because, you know, she's been holding these people hostage for months on end or whatever. apparently this mind control hurts a lot, trying to make them be these people that they're not. It was interesting, and to see people being mad and just like hate Wanda, I think that was pretty cool. Of course, I think they should have done a little bit more with that, but I guess they have a lot of stuff going on, so we can't just focus on this. But that's the problem, that there's a lot of stuff going on and this is one episode. That's an issue. But yeah, now Wanda is faced with this struggle, this conflict of deciding, okay, do I actually let these people go? Because Wanda at first was like, oh, no, please, I'm not hurting you. I'm actually doing this for the better of all of you. And I'm like, no, you're not. Like, are you actually trying to convince yourself this is a good idea, what you're doing? I'm like, wow, she's still... It was kind of cool to see that, because even through all the struggle, she still doesn't want to let this go. She still wants to keep that town, even though she kind of knows, and she's starting to know that this is not good, it's fucked up. But I like that in that moment, she still hold on to that. She still wanted to hold on to it. I'm like, fuck, no, I don't want to let this go. So she has to know, like, okay, I have to let him go. This is not good. I'm like, fuck. Because first, she just got super frustrated and got mad by all this pressure. People's like screaming, not screaming at her, but people like going on her, like, what the fuck? Like, let us go, please, just let us go. Because I like the moment with, like, Potty was her name or whatever. Where she's like, please, like, sprung out of this character that she was in. She was like, please, can you just put my daughter with me in my house? I mean, just please, I want to have her with me. I'm like, wow, that's sad. Like, that's some good stuff. I'm like, wow, it makes you feel the situation, the dire consequences of this. And so, yeah, Wanda got frustrated and accidentally, like, pulled him on a leash, trying to choke him out. And she's like, oh, fuck, like, no, I'm sorry, I'm gonna hurt you. I'm sorry. So that's when she decides, like, okay, I gotta let this go. I can't put him under control anymore. It's not good. But that's when she notices, like, oh, fuck. Well, if I actually open the city up, which, by the way, when she opened up the force field, that's when some of the sword people come in and trying to take her down. But we see that, okay, like, just like when I thought, her kids and Vision, because Vision starts, like, after a little while, if they're fighting, Vision just starts to go down and try to, I guess, be with Wanda for a little bit. That's when we see that since they're not real, they're going to disappear. So that's when Agnes starts to fuck with her a little bit more, like, oh, so what are you gonna do now? Like, are you gonna let these people go, let this whole illusion go away, for the better good of the people, or are you gonna keep it just to keep your family? Like, it's your family or the people? What are you gonna do? So I like that in this moment, like, Wanda just was flawed, just like, she doesn't want to let her family go. Although they're not real, but she's real to them, and they've become real in a sense. So I like that she's like, nah, dude, I can't do it. Like, I just can't do it. So not right now. So that was good. I actually liked that a lot. I thought it was very good. And that's when the sword people show up and start to get their guns ready and start to fight. And I love those little the Incredibles pose where the families are ready to get some action. I'm like, oh yeah. And then you also go back to Monica, who finds a way to break out of this her confinement, and she starts to notice, like, or she finds out that Evan Peters is actually Ralph Boner, which, yeah, some people are already complaining about it. Wow, yeah, they did a whole boner joke. Like, they could have done something cool with it, revealed his character, like, because, I mean, in a sense, it is kind of cool. You know, Agnes has been referencing the whole show, like, Ralph, my husband, Ralph. I'm like, oh, so this is Ralph. Okay. Still doesn't make any sense. Like, why would she reference this dude so much? I don't know. And the thing is, I guess we find out that he's not really under her control, or I guess he kind of is, because the reason why he has his, like, speed abilities is because of this necklace that she gave him, but we don't really know why he's with her. Why is he doing these stuff? I guess he was kind of forced, I guess, from Agnes, I guess. But it was just, I don't know. Didn't really do much with that. They didn't really do much with him. And that was, by the way, that's the last moment you see him. Like, once she gets out, we don't see him ever again. Not even a post-credit scene. Nothing. He's just like, well, we're done with you. Super completely wasted. Because, like, you know what Marvel did there. Like, they know what they did there. They wanted to tease you with this idea of, like, oh shit, is he Evan Peters as Quicksilver from the X-Men Fox movies? Like, holy crap. So that is interesting, but I mean, this could have been a good idea. Maybe to set up a little bit of the mutants, actually bring them into the universe. Now that this show needed to build the X-Men, but it could have been a good idea for the multiverse idea, the concept of that, or something. They should have done something, anything than this, a boner joke, and just make him a complete waste of a character. And I'm like, so what was the purpose of having him in here? No reason at all. Really, if you think about it, he has no purpose in the show. He's just there to trick you and like just fool everybody, just to make you confused. That's about it. He has no purpose in the show. Sucked. I mean, I don't hate him. It's like I'm not like wow, not like the Mandarin situation with Iron Man 3. That shit still pisses me off. Like they're kind of retroactively fixing that. But this is not that case. I'm like, oh my god, I fucking hate it. Like, I wasn't expecting him to really be that Quicksilver, but I'm like, I don't know. You could have done anything better than that. And hopefully later on they do something with actual X-Men, or I don't know. I just think they could have done something better. It was just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just disappointed he wasn't actually Quicksilver, or I just think they should have done something better. And if you think about it, I guess really they didn't do much with him. It's just like, oh, he was Agnes for whatever reason. They didn't explain that much, and that's it. I'm like, oh, wow, they didn't even try to explain that. What the fuck? So when Monica shows up at the town hall and just tries to, try to help Wanda in a little bit. So Vision starts to fight again with White Vision, and that's when Wanda tries to help out the kids and trying to stop the sword people. But then at some point she has to go stop Agnes because Agnes is the main objective right here. But of course she wants the kids to be away, but the kids are not gonna go away. Actually, she encourages them to go fight. I don't remember that, but I know the kids stay in there and Monica's around. So, but Wanda has to go. Like, okay, we stopped the bad guys for a little bit. We gotta go. But at this moment with actual kids going to action a little bit, like we see Speed actually using his speed powers and trying to stop the guys, but actually at the same time, Wiccan uses his powers to basically freeze the dudes with the guns, and that was cool. That was a cool little action scene. That was interesting. And so we see Hayward, dude. Hayward does not give a fuck. He was just gonna shoot these kids. Although you can say, oh, okay, these kids are not real, so it wasn't gonna be anything much. But still, they're fucking kids, and Hayward doesn't give a fuck. He was like, I'm gonna shoot these kids, and actually shot him until Monica shows up and saves them, and actually we see more of her powers, which you can find out that she actually can consume bullets and not hurt her, so that's pretty cool. But then accidentally one of the bullets just goes right next to her, and I'm like, oh shit. But that's when I guess we see Wiccan like use his power. I'm like, oh shit, I can do this kind of stuff. It's awesome. And then there's a little back and forth between him and Monica that was kind of cute, so I enjoy that. But think about it, if Wiccan didn't use his powers, that bullet would have went right through him, and Monica would have been like, oh fuck, I fucked up. And then Hayward tries to escape like a bitch that he is, and that's when Darcy shows up and just hits him right with that ice cream truck. Dude, he could have been crushed and killed, and Darcy didn't even think about it, but fuck it. And I think Wanda and Agnes have a little bit more of a fight. Well, they have a fight later on, but yes, what happens is, and that's actually cool because it's actually kind of a callback to Age of Ultron, when she uses her, like, when she goes behind some people and tries to mind control them. The same movements, like I don't know what you like. Can't you just do that all the time and just get people behind them, or like stop people that quickly? That why she do it often? But yeah, it's cool that she actually uses the power again because we haven't seen her use this since what, Age of Ultron, really? Because I don't think she uses it in any of the later films. I don't think so. But I actually thought it was cool that she used this on her. I'm like, oh shit, let's see what's going on in Agnes's mind. That could be cool. But I was actually expecting that to not work because Agnes is a super powerful witch. Also, I forgot to say that Agnes reveals more about the Scarlet Witch because yes, I forgot that she calls Wanda by the end of that last episode the Scarlet Witch. She explains again how the Scarlet Witch is like it's a being, it's a force. It's not really like a person. It's like it's sort of like a presence or something. Not like a presence, but it's like it's a being. It's not really an exact person, but yes, it's manifested through Wanda. Like finally, like Scarlet Witch is actually Wanda, and she explains that she's as powerful as the Sorcerer Supreme, or a little bit more powerful, which is cool. That connects to Doctor Strange. I'm like, okay, so this is how we're gonna connect to Doctor Strange too. Maybe we see what's going on in her mind, and when Agnes's mind, we'll go back to the witch trial, the scene that almost killed her. But then Agnes uses this against Wanda trying to scare her off, I guess take more of her powers, but Wanda's like, oh, at first she's kind of afraid. She's like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? But then she's like, fuck you. Like, I'm Wanda, goddammit. I'm more powerful than any of y'all. Fuck you. So I mean, I look at my Hammy's like, oh no, this is not going in my way at all. So then we get out of this situation and we see that Wanda is getting more powerful, and then they start a fight out in the sky, which those scenes look a little bit better. I'm like, okay, some moments don't look that good, but by the end of that conflict, it looked way better. But also, let's focus on what's going on with Vision and White Vision, which start fighting. They go through a library at some point, and they start gonna fight there a little bit, until Vision reveals to him, like, oh shit, like, by the way, you're actually a reincarnated version of me, which that stops him. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, like, go back. What are you saying? Like, I'm a who? So they have to start this, like, almost a la Age of Ultron, you know, that end scene with Vision and Ultron speaking, like, having these philosophical, like, discussions. That's what's going on between Vision and White Vision, and this is like an existential crisis revelation, because that's when White Vision's like, oh, so who am I? Like, what are you saying? What are you actually saying? And they have this philosophical discussion, like, oh, so what's real, what's not? And then basically by the end of the scene, we just, you know, Vision just goes right through White Vision's mind, reveal all the memories from the actual Vision, because, you know, that body is the, I guess, our Vision. So that's when he goes from evil Vision quickly into just being, okay, I guess I'm Vision now. But he's not completely Vision yet. He's like, okay, I guess I know who I am, but I don't know how to feel about that yet. I'm just like, literally, I was born today. I have to deal with this. Because I think, wasn't that even something that they referenced back in Age of Ultron? I'm like, yeah, I'm 1 day old. I was just born today. So yeah, that's when White Vision just like, sayonara, I gotta get the fuck out of here. I gotta think, what am I gonna do? And that's the last moment you see. That's the last you see of him, and we don't reference him. Like, that's something that they wasted. And I know you can argue, like, oh, they'll deal with that later, and I guess they will. Which, by the way, there's a lot of things they have to deal with the MCU right now. A lot of things they have to deal with. I don't know how they do it, how they're gonna work with them, but there's something that, unfortunately, MCU, they've done a pretty good job so far. But it's like, they have all of these hanging parts, all these things that they set up and teased for something later on, but like, sometimes I'm afraid that they just gonna breeze through it in a movie, and like, wow, this is something that should have been bigger, and you're just not gonna like focus on this. It's just like, oh, we'll deal with it off screen. I'm like, really? So yeah, now we gotta deal with White Vision. Like, I don't know when he's gonna show up, or what they're gonna do with him, but they don't even reference him at the end. Like, why does Vision not tell Wanda, like, oh, hey, by the way, the real Vision that you met and love and everything, he's out there, you know, you actually met him at the beginning, so he's out there, and just go find him, or something, or nothing. They don't even reference that at all. I'm like, wow, really? We're not gonna tackle that at all. We're supposed to wait or something? I mean, even in the sense of the story, you think a Vision would tell her that, like, hey, he's actually brought back as the Vision that you kind of know, but not really. But he's out there, so you can find him. But no, we don't do that at all. So, okay. So yeah, Wanda and Agnes start having a fight in the sky, and everything's cool. And it seems like Agnes have the upper hand, because she's, you know, Wanda's still using her powers, and the moment that she keeps using them, it's sucking more of her magic. Or is it magic? Can we just say magic now? Is it magic? Which also, by the way, we don't explain at all. I guess we're gonna find out more in Doctor Strange 2, but we don't confirm that she actually, I guess she had magic all this time, which I kind of want to focus more on that. Like, how does this come around? Like, is it a mutant, like, metagene? Like, what is it? Hopefully they tackle this Doctor Strange 2, which I don't know if that'll be too much already for that movie. I don't know. I just don't want to be like a throwaway thing. I really want to know, like, more about her. So, like, what is going on? Like, how does this happen? I guess this is a way to reveal, like, oh, her dad is actually Magneto. I don't know. But yeah, there's some stuff. There's some hanging threads. I'm like, okay, what are we gonna resolve this? We didn't solve it here in the show, so hopefully they do something. Something that's kind of annoying sometimes. Like, hey, so I have to wait till when? Or like, when do I know they're gonna tackle this? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they should have solved in the show, maybe, or maybe they have something playing out. I just can't complain right now because I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what the blueprint, like what is the plan they have for the future. I don't know. Again, when Wanda feels defeated, that's when she gets stronger and stronger, because that's when she's like, oh, wait a minute, you thought I was stupid? Dude, I actually casted this spell you mentioned earlier, something like that, in private or secret before, you know, this whole big fight we have right now. So, boom, I'm Scarlet Witch, everything's awesome, and then I'm like that moment that tends, like, that build up to her becoming Scarlet Witch was actually really good. I actually liked it. You see, like, the symbols going through around. I was kind of confused a little bit. I was like, okay, what's actually going on? But I guess it was that she's actually casted this spell or something, whatever. Yes, we finally see Scarlet Witch, because yeah, the whole time it's kind of weird. She's been only known as Wanda Maximoff, not having a superhero alias, which is okay. But this is really like, wow, the first time I see her as Scarlet Witch, and I gotta say the costume looks badass. I was kind of worried. I'm like, is this gonna look good? I don't know. We'll see. And it looks great. It looks very MCU costume. All I gotta say is, like, MCU costumes already have like a similar design. It's like, it's something very common through all of the costumes. It's like, okay, it looks awesome. It looks pretty modern. It doesn't look goofy. It doesn't look ridiculous. It looks badass. They actually pull off the crown thing. It looks cool. Especially goes full power mode, and actors are like, oh fuck, like, what did I do? So they start fighting, and boom, 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 defeats her, and I'm like, okay, cool. Again, this fight, I was like, that's cool. But this is what I noticed. I'm like, man, I'm just kind of disappointed with how they handled Agnes. They should have been, like, there's something awesome with the reveal by episode 7, which, you know, made a whole storm of her theme song and everything. It was great. I just think she wasn't bad. She's still a very good villain. She's not a weak villain at all. It's just like, I would have loved something a little bit better with her, or something, maybe just a little bit. She's still very good. I still very like her. I like her a lot, but I don't know. I felt by the end of this episode, or through the episode, I wanted something better. So like, Agnes is like, okay, so what are you gonna do now? You're gonna arrest me now? Like, what are you gonna do? And one is like, no, what I'm gonna do is, like, you're actually gonna be here in Westview, but you're gonna be like the nosy neighbor you always wanted to be. You know, so I'm gonna put you in this other character. I guess the character she actually pretended to be, but she wasn't really. But now Wanda's like, yeah, you're gonna be this person for the rest of your life. You'll be in Westview, and you'll just be here, and that's it. And I'll keep an eye on you, so don't worry about that. Dude, that's kind of fucked up. This is fucked up. Like, put her in this other character, entrapping her in her own mind. Dude, that's fucked up. That's so fucked up. Nobody even thought about it. Like, well, is this a good idea? About, of course, this is bad. Like, I mean, so it's not something we have to feel so sorry about, but still, dude, at least put her in prison or something, and then put some kind of force field that can not use her powers or something. I don't know, but that's just really fucked up. I guess it's a way to say, like, hey, she can come back later on. I don't know, in a movie or another show, because I don't think we're having a WandaVision season 2. Like, I think they said this is just a limited series. It's not like it's gonna have multiple seasons or anything. So I wonder, like, when are we gonna see her, or if we're gonna see her? Not that we have to see her, but it'd be cool to catch up with her and see what's going on, and maybe we'll see her in Doctor Strange 2. I don't know, maybe a different show. I don't know, but that's her conclusion. She just becomes Agnes. Oh my god, I've been calling Agnes the whole time. Her name is actually Agatha. What the fuck? Sorry. Even it's just disturbing the way she's like pleading, like, please don't do this to me. And one is like, fuck you. I'm like, wow, damn, ruthless. Because Wanda can be ruthless, David. Wanda can be pretty ruthless. And this is also when Wanda decides, okay, the Westview illusion, everything, it's done, it's over. I gotta end this. As we see, she goes back home with her family. And I was like, wait, it's nighttime? What the fuck? But then we find out, oh, it's just, she made it like this. But dude, that tells you the level of power that she has. Like, she can control even time and space. Like, holy shit. So yeah, it's kind of a bittersweet moment, because we see her force field depleting, and it's changing everything back to the way it was, which Westview looks like shit. But So I guess she made something for the better, but yeah, it looks like shit. But yeah, she goes back to her family with the house, and we kind of know how it's going. And I'll tell you that this moment, I mean, it didn't hit me that much. It didn't even hit me at all. I'm like, I mean, yeah, I like to see the kids, which I guess we'll see them again, which I'm like, of course, because, come on, not everything's gonna stay that, like, super sad, you know? Like, the MCU has this thing that you think has consequences, or you think is like it's gonna stay with this tragic and sad, but not really. I mean, characters die. No, they're not. They're coming back. Don't worry about it. Oh, these characters you liked, are they gone? No, they'll be back. I'm like, so of course, when I saw the kids disappear, I'm like, we're gonna see them again. Let's find a way to bring them back. Like, maybe adults, maybe not the kids, but Wiccan and Speed will be back for sure. And it seems to be that way. And even this moment with her saying goodbye to Vision, I'm like, it's sweet and it's very well done, but it just didn't hit me. Because I know Vision's coming back in a way. It's going to be this white Vision, which maybe won't be the same guy. So I'm kind of worried that this new Vision will be kind of boring. I don't know, or just kind of stale. But I don't think so. I don't think they'll make him similar to the Vision that we saw on the show and even before then. Because I think this Vision won the show, by the way. That's the best version we've seen of him. I think he's very charming. He's just very likable. But I think this new Vision will have some of that, but maybe something a little more serious, a little bit more stoic. I don't know. It didn't hit me at all. I was like, of course we can have him back in a way. I mean, it's still sad in a way that Wanda just can't have anything good in her life. Her life is a lot of sad shit. So yeah, it's over and it's done. And I love that Wanda wasn't like super sad about it. She's like, this is her accepting moment. This is the next stage in like her grief, where she's accepted it. Like, I gotta go with it. So I like that she already put the hood on, full like Winter Soldier mode. Like, okay, I gotta go. Like, I'm a fugitive now, because basically she is a fugitive now. Because she has a lot to answer for, and you know, she has to pay some time. Really, she has to pay some time. Is it okay for her to go away? I think she would have to go to prison. But I guess the message here is like, well, because like, even in her conversation with Monica, it wants to tell us like, hey, what Wanda did was wrong. But, you know, like, she was in her sad grief, depression moment. But I just think she had to pay for that. I think she would have to pay for that. Like, what the fuck? But I guess not. Or maybe later on they will. I don't know. But Monica basically says like, hey, you're good. You got my seal of approval. You're not a bad person. But I love how the town still hates her. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, dude, fuck you. You know, they don't like her. So I kind of like that. But I wonder how the repercussions of this is going to affect her outside of this town. Like, do people find out later on, like, people won't like her? I'm like, oh my god. First, you blew this shit up in Africa, in Lagos. You know, you did some bad shit in there. Like, you basically, that's how does the COVID courts happen? Because of you. Of course, I don't blame her that much. I mean, it happened, but, you know, people put the blame on her. And now, you did shit in Westview. Do people not like her in the world? People are just not gonna like her? I don't know. I mean, it'll be something interesting to see. Maybe Doctor Strange 2 or whenever, but I would like to see. I don't know, maybe will they reference this in Falcon Winter Soldier? I don't think so. I don't know if this takes place after the show, or this show happens around the same time. I don't know, or even before. I don't know. But it's interesting. I want to know and see how this affects her later on. How's the world going to change revolving Wanda? And what's going to happen to people of Westview? Like, how's it going to change the MCU a little bit? This will be something to keep an eye on. I think this would be cool. Oh, also I forgot to say, please don't make her the next Tony Stark. Because I remember my friend Danny Doggett, which you can find him on YouTube as Danny Doggett, he wrote this post, which, like, now I'm thinking about it. What if she becomes the new Tony Stark, where someone from Westview is not gonna be pissed off and like become a villain to someone else? Like, do you imagine if someone from there becomes a villain for like fucking Spider-Man? Like, Jesus Christ, I mean, there's something interesting to think about. Like, hey, what if someone from Westview is pissed off and, you know, for what happened? Sort of cool, but let's not do that again. We did it twice already. We did it twice. Let's not do it again. All right, continue. But yeah, I think she would have to pay some consequences, something. Because we can just let her go off and like, oh, it happened, don't worry about it. We understand. Like, no, she has to pay something of a consequence, like something. I don't know what. Maybe people later on will be okay with it. I don't know. But hopefully there are some consequences of this. I just don't want to be like, oh, it just happened. Well, let's just move on. Like, no, something has to be. There has to be consequence. There has to be consequence. So then, yeah, she flies away, and then boom, the show's over. I'm like, oh, we just ended there. I'm like, oh, okay. So I was like, okay, I gotta see what's going on. Is there a post-credit scene? There's a mid-credit scene. Yes, I'm like, of course there is. And we see that Monica is, you know, she meets Jimmy Woo again. I'm like, okay, cool. And he's like, oh, where's Darcy? I'm like, oh, Darcy, she left because she hates briefings or whatever. I'm like, okay. It felt like Kat Dennings just didn't, I don't know, maybe she didn't have much time to work on set. I don't know what happened. I'm like, it's weird. It feels like something happened with her. It's not because the character didn't want to be there. I'm like, But we meet Jimmy Woo again. I was like, cool, awesome. And they're cleaning up everything and helping the people up, which is like, that's good. And then this FBI agent comes around. He's like, hey, I need your help. We need to talk over here. I'm like, okay. And this is when I was expecting Dr. Strange to show up. I was hoping like he would show up. I'm like, oh fuck yeah, let's go. But no, she ends up being a Skrull, and she's like, oh hey, a mutual friend of your mom's. He wants to talk to you. She's like, oh, where is he? Like, he's up there. At first, I lost that moment. Like, what are they talking about? And I rewound it again, and like, oh, okay, I understand. Nick Fury, obviously, that cool. So I wonder, what am I gonna see this? I think there's a show or a movie that's gonna come out that I forgot the name of it, but I think it has something to do with Nick Fury, what he's doing. I think, oh, it's a Secret Wars, I think. Maybe I'll be for that. That'll be interesting. Hopefully it's not too long away. Like, I want to see what's going on with Nick Fury, and I guess what's gonna happen now with Monica. That's super cool. Maybe Captain Marvel 2? I don't know. Yeah, that's cool. That was cool. Maybe it should have been the moment to see Doctor Strange show up and be like, hey, I want to talk to you about what happened here with Wanda. Where is she? Like, that could have been cool. That would have been super awesome. That would set up the movie. But I guess the way they're going to word things is maybe whatever happens in that movie makes Steven look for Wanda. And like, okay, I got to look for Wanda. Maybe he actually finds out about what happened in Westview through the news or something. I don't know. But I guess some events in that movie will make him go actually find her, and not because of what happened in Westview. But okay, cool. You know, the reference what happened in Far From Home was like, that's awesome, cool. We even see a scroll, like, that's cool. And the moment that confused the shit out of me was the actual post-credit scene, which we see Wanda in the cabin, wherever it is, and she's just chilling. I'm like, okay, it's nice. She seems to have like a peaceful life for herself right now. Seems a little bit content with it. Of course, like I said, she has to face some consequences. But hey, she looks like she's finally at peace in her own way, in spite of what's happened. But the confusing part of me was, okay, we see that she goes back to the cabin, but in the room, we see there's another Wanda as Scarlet Witch is floating and reading the book. You know, the book spells, whatever it is. And then she hears her kids calling her like, Mom, help, Mom! And she's like, what? And just springs to action, and then we cut. I'm like, what the fuck was that about? I don't know. And of course, already, even the demise of her kids, you know, being disappeared is already cut out. Even in this own episode, this post-credits scene, showing like, oh yeah, we'll be back, don't worry about it. I'm like, the show just put by the end of the credits, I'm like, Wicked and Speed will be back in Doctor Strange 2. Something like that. I just like, yeah, of course, no consequences in this shit. That one scene confused the fuck out of me. Like, what is this? Like, what's gonna happen? I don't know. I don't know what the context of it, what's the significance of it. I don't know. Explain to me in the comments what are the theories on it. Like, what is it about? Well, let's discuss it because I don't know. And that's it. That's the whole show. And I will say that the episode, it was kind of disappointing. It wasn't necessarily bad at all. I just thought they could have done so much better in so many ways. I get this is the last episode. They want to do a lot of big battles and like go all out like the movies would, but I was just prefer something a little bit better because like the show started with this more philosophical questioning your realities and all that stuff, and kind of keep you on your toes with the mystery. and kind of just relegating to just like these big battles and shit. I'm like, oh man, which don't even look that good. I'm like, yeah, okay. I mean, not that would I've liked to see Agnes and Wanda fight at some point, of course, but even just having Agatha in here, I don't know. I think it would have been cool if they actually did something more philosophical, like mind games kind of thing, instead of just this actual fucking battle that happened. It just goes back to this like generic formula crap for like superhero movies, and just like, I'm like, eh. Just, I think the show did so good for the first half. I think the second half was just not strong. It's not bad at all. It's not bad at all. It's just like, it didn't end as strongly as it started. So it's like, I think I agree with what people say that like the show got bogged down with the whole MCU stuff. Like, hey, Darcy's here, and Jimmy Woo's here. But like, again, they were awesome. And I'm like, love how they were used for the most part. But by the end of the 3 episodes, they were kind of like, bleh. I guess having them is not the issue. It's just how they were used, and like, it's just again trying to block the show down with all MCU stuff that wasn't really necessary. I mean, of course, some stuff like, oh yeah, like having Sword in here, or having like Vision's body and Sword, stuff like that. Okay, it makes sense. It's actually cool. We still have that MCU connectivity. But I just think the show would have been better as actually having just Wanda and Vision and trying to struggle with that. And maybe having Monica and Jimmy and even Darcy around to help her out. But I don't know, just having all of these things and bigger stuff than it should have been, I don't think it was needed. And I would have liked it, because I think the problem is, even though we have Monica and all these people around, I think the big issue for me in the show is just we didn't focus on the title characters. Even we focus more on Vision really than Wanda, and that's the issue that I have with this show, is that Wanda feels like an afterthought in her own show. She's always kind of been like an afterthought in the MCU. I mean, yeah, she's used a lot and she's cool and she's awesome and she has like a good tragic story, but there's a lot of moments where she does feel like an afterthought in the movies at some point. She's cool and I love her participation in the movies and stuff. She's awesome, but I think she's an afterthought, and she's something I would have liked to see more from the movies. But again, the movies, like the way she was used, you know, in the movies that she's in, she has a lot of people around her, so I get it. But I thought that this is a show that we meet more about her, and we get to see her fleshed out. And again, even last episode, we saw a lot of her own story, but I just thought even in her own show, she's an afterthought, and a lot of moments we forget she's even there. There's a lot of parts that we should focus on what's going on around her than actually her. You know, everything that's going on right now is because of her, so that is cool. But the show's not really focused on her. So that's my big problem with the show. It started like it would have been interesting with that, but it focused on like more of the grand parts of the MCU and all these big stuff, but not make it a character story. So that's my big issue with it. That's like my big issue with it. It's just very disappointing. It just became very formulaic by the end of it. And like, will I watch the show again? Maybe I have to go back through the MCU stuff. Maybe I'm like, okay, I gotta go visit. I gotta see the show, obviously. But I just don't think it's very real. I kind of like someone said on Facebook, I don't think it's very rewatchable, and I kind of agree. I don't think it's very rewatchable. It was fun when I watched it week by week, which yeah, that week by week concept actually worked out. I think it was actually pretty fun to keep talking about this on a weekly basis. Watching it as a whole, I don't think it's that interesting if you think about it. So I'll give the rating for the show instead of the episode. I'll give the whole show a 7 out of 10, a solid 7 out of 10. It should have been 8. Like, the show started on greatness, but I think it fell down to just like, it was good. It was more like it's good. They still do a lot of great stuff in here. So I don't think it's a great show, period.
Oh, especially the big issue. They set up things that don't fall through. Especially the Evan Peters thing. That was just a big wasted potential, like I said earlier. Why? What was the point of doing that? Except for, trying to trick you with, oh, is he Quicksilver from the movies? It went nowhere, and that's really terrible. It's just some kind of bad writing. Unless they somehow plan something, which that's the thing. You can always be like, oh, are they planning something? We don't know. But for right now, it's just some bad writing. It's just pretty shitty.
So yeah, it's what it is, but it's all right. We'll see how it goes with the rest of the shows, and we'll see what happens with the character. But it's just a lot of missed opportunities and wasted potential in the show. What do you think about Wandavision, the finale? What do you think of the finale? What do you think about the show as a whole? Let me know in the comments. Let's discuss it. Discuss our theories. Like, what am I wrong? What I'm saying here? Like, what do you disagree with me? Let's talk in the comments. So thank you for watching my weekly reviews, kinda, for WandaVision. So stay tuned for my reviews for Falcon Winter Soldier. Hopefully that show's good. I think it's not gonna be as nuanced as this show. This is gonna be just pretty much action and have some cool moments and good writing, but I don't think it's gonna be anything nuanced as it is. But that's all right. It doesn't have to be anything like super complex. You know, it could just be fun. And hopefully they have some good storylines and some good stories. And it's just a basic action show. We'll see. So stay tuned for that. And please, if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe for more stuff like this and other kinds of varied content. Whatever you want, it'll be on this channel. So thank you for watching. My name is Sebastián Sierra. Yo seguiré aquí hablando shit.